الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. We'll continue inshallah today our discussion on Bab al-Shukr, or thankfulness, as Imam Ghazali discussed the sabr and shukr, and we talked about sabr, and he defined shukrillah subhanahu wa ta'ala and different kinds of shukr and the requirements of knowledge and hal and amal. So to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you need to know the ni'mah, and the knowledge of the ni'mah leads to a hal al-farah bin ni'mah, then this should lead to al-amal or shukr al-ni'mah. Shukr yakunu bil-qalbi wal-lisani wal-jawarih, as we mentioned before. And then today we'll discuss the ni'mah itself, and we talked about al-ni'mah, and he radiallahu anhu said that the real ni'mah, the ultimate ni'mah, the ultimate blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to be in Jannah. And any good that happened to us in this dunya that does not lead to achieving this ultimate ni'mah, calling it ni'mah is either wrong or metaphorical use. So anything that help us achieve the greatest ni'mah, that's the Jannah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this we can call ni'mah. And he said the same blessing or good that happened to us, it makes us happy, for some is a blessing and for others is a curse. It depends on how you deal with it. So money, for example, could be for some people who know the right of this money. It's a blessing. It gives them dignity, so they don't have to beg other people, and they use this also for salat al-rahim and give the sadaqat and charity and hajj and umrah and so on. So ni'ma al-malu salih al-rajul salih. But for others, this good, this money could be also a source of curse, because they use it to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So shukr al-ni'mah, to practically thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you used to use all blessings in a way that leads to the ultimate blessing. So if you have money, it could be a blessing if you put it in the right place, and by spending fi sabilillah, this will inshallah help you achieve the ultimate happiness. Ni'matul aql, the ability to see, to hear, to be thankful to Allah, to use it in ta'atillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the opposite is kufrun ni'mah. Allah gives you so much money, and the more wealthy a person gets, the more corrupt he becomes. So even if he says alhamdulillah with his tongue, but in practice he is using the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and disobeying him. And the thankful people, they do the opposite. They use the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how you practically thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a ni'mah. So Imam Ghazali also talked about ni'am, and he divided them into 16 kind of types of ni'mah. Of course, we will not be able to mention all of them, but he started by thinking about the ni'matullah fi khalq asbab al-idrak, the ability to understand things. إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد كل أولئك كان عنه مسؤولا. The ability to see and hear and comprehend and analyze and remember and imagine, make decisions, it's a great blessing. So these senses, the ability to see and hear and touch and smell and so on, they all help you to understand, to comprehend, al-idrak, to know what's around you and how to get what you need and to avoid what is harmful to you. He talked about these senses that you need actually to survive. You need to eat, obviously, but you need to see and you need to be able to touch and imagine. Sometimes we complain, pain is bad, we don't like pain, but pain could be actually a blessing. The ability to feel things. If you hold something hot and you have no pain, you will continue to hold it, and it will eventually burn you, right? Nobody likes pain, but sometimes pain is an indicator. It tells you you have something wrong in your lower back. You know, you have to see a doctor or change the position and find treatment. So if you are unable to feel, then you'll not notice the symptoms and you'll not see treatment. And he talked about all these hawas, الشم والبصر والسمع والذوق طبعا. He talked about الذوق and the ability to taste things. It's interesting that they said that we have to deal with ideas as we deal with food. Sometimes before we eat, we see the food first, smell it, or sometimes we smell it first and then we see it, and then we taste it. So if you see a food that smells good and looks good, but you put it in your tongue and you feel that something wrong with it, then what you do? You don't eat it. Or it looks not good, then you not eat it. Or it looks good but smells awful, right? So if these three things are okay, then you enjoy eating. Smells good, looks good, tastes good. Before you put it down in your stomach, then you have to do these tests, examination. Same thing with ideas. When someone introduces an idea to you, then we have to test before we believe in it, before we are convinced this idea is true or wrong. We have to examine it, look at it, smell it, taste it, before it becomes in your mind. خلق الإرادة. So الإدراك, the ability to use your senses, and then the irada. The irada is the will to do good. So if you see the food, but you are not hungry, then you will not be interested in eating, right? And then we have to think of the sexual desire the same way. If the sexual desire is not there, then you don't have to get married and to have children because desire is not there. So the desire in of itself is a blessing. How to use it is a different story, right? زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said has been beautified in the eyes of the people. The love of the desires of women, children, and gold and silver, and horses and properties and so on. زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ, this is the subject is not mentioned. زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ, right? مبني المجهول we say in Arabic. Who made these things beautiful in the eyes of the people? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some people call it shaitan. No, it's not shaitan. Allah made it beautiful in the eyes of the people. Right? People desire money, obviously. And this should lead them to go and work. And this is how we cultivate this work. And he said also, when you feel hungry, it's a blessing that you feel hungry, because this is a sign, like a pain of hunger, that your body needs to be nurtured. So when you eat, can you keep eating and eating non-stop? What will happen if this happens? The person will die. If you keep drinking and drinking water and all the time, then there will be no salt or any minerals in your body. This can actually cause intoxication. Sometimes people get drunk when they drink so much water. So, but he said, alaykum salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the ability to feel that, you know what, that's it, I have to stop eating. Same thing with sleeping. If you don't sleep, you'll be in big trouble. It's a blessing that you are able to sleep. But would you sleep for years? No. Your body had to know that you got enough sleep, you have to get up enough. It's just amazing. We don't think about these things. We don't think about it. We eat when we get hungry, we drink when we get thirsty, and we sleep when we feel sleepy, and we just get up when our body is satisfied. Of course, now that is not now talking about the dopamine and melatonin in the evening and how the brain produces all these chemicals. You know, melatonin after when it gets dark, and then your body is getting ready to sleep, and in the morning cortisol level goes up, and all this dopamine and adrenaline and all these thing that gives you energy. And this, if the balance is not there, then the person becomes sick. people who don't sleep well, have sleep deprivation, are all kind of illnesses, mental and physical illnesses. But people don't even think about it. How do we sleep and how do we wake up? Most of the people don't know anything. We don't know. I asked many brain doctors, and they said we don't know so much about our brain, how the brain functions. Nobody knows. We don't know exactly why this brain produces more, cortisol than this brain, or dopamine, or serotonin, or all these chemicals. We don't know. What affects this? Nobody knows. Also, the ghadab, anger, is important. Sometimes we have to get angry. Sometimes that's why Allah created anger. Imagine people come and destroy your land and take your property and invade your country. You have to get angry and fight back. You cannot fight back without being angry, right? You have to fight and protect yourself. But with all these desire to eat, desire to sexual desire, and desire to also revenge and so on, it's all controlled by another important sense, that is the aql, to know the consequences. You desire something, but you cannot get it now. You have to wait, because there will be consequences. So aql controls all these desires, so it does not go beyond the limit. Another great blessing that we don't pay attention to. So senses lead to knowledge or idrak, and irada help us achieve what we want to achieve. Imam Ghazali also talked about why is that most of the people are not thankful. Why is that? He said one of the reasons, of two reasons. One is jahl and ghafla. Jahl, ignorance, and ghafla, heedlessness. People are ignorant. They don't think. They don't think about the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and are heedless. Heedless means that they're not paying attention to Allah. I have so many other things. I'm too busy to be thankful. Now, being busy is an excuse for anything. I'm too busy to pray. I'm too busy to come to masjid. I'm too busy to read Quran. I'm too busy to... busy with what? He said you cannot imagine someone being thankful unless he has knowledge of the ni'mah. If you don't know the ni'mah, how will you be thankful for it? And he said, as for ghafla, he said something really very interesting. He said people are not thankful for the general ni'am that all people enjoy. Many people think that I'll be thankful when Allah gives me something special to me. But the thing that everybody enjoys, they don't count this as a blessing. So the sun rises every morning, right? Everybody enjoys the sun, right? Everybody enjoys the air. So we breathe, right? But everybody breathes. That's it. So many people don't think about this general blessing as blessing. No, they think only what comes to me only is a blessing. And that's absolutely wrong. Think of it. When the sun rises in the morning, think of yourself as a shareholder. You know, shareholder, it's a big company, GM, a shareholder, right? So some people buy stocks. So you are a shareholder. You have part of GM. So if GM sells well, then your profit will increase, right? Imagine, think of the sun as a big corporation. You own part of this sun, because Allah made this sun for everybody. So when the sun rises, you benefit from it. You are a shareholder. Allah made this for all of us, right? So if we count only the blessings we have and nobody else has, then we are not going to count. We'll not even pay attention to it. That's why we don't pay attention to so many blessings. Imam Ghazali said, only when you lose it, you will realize how important it is. And think of one of these blessings that I'm sure many people don't even think about. Freedom. Think about your freedom, that you are able to go anywhere. Drive. go for shopping, visit people, come to the masjid. You are a free person. Think about those who are behind bars, locked up, justly or unjustly. So many people are behind bars unjustly, because of political reason, because of whatever injustice. Imagine if you are locked up, you have this cell, you cannot get out of it, or you get out of it within the prison. People spend that. Yusuf alayhi salam, he spent so many years in prison. The fact that you are unable to go out, you are in prison, it's a huge pain and suffering. But the fact that you are driving your car and you can, you know what, I'm going to stop by this grocery store, pick up something, and just go home and wake up in the morning and nobody's walking you and nobody's arresting you. You are a free person. You are not a criminal. Nobody's coming after you. It's a huge blessing. And sometimes we don't think about this. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in the beautiful hadith, نِعْمَتَانِ مَغْبُورٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ. There are two blessings. Most of the people are losing. He said, الصحة والفراغ, health and free time. Health and if you think 1 hour is nothing, think about those who have a deadline coming up and they have to submit their article or paper or something. Every minute counts, every second counts, right? Every second. If you have a big paper, you have a deadline, you have to submit it this time, okay? Otherwise, sometimes we go through this. I remember that. Sometimes you have to take an exam and you have to send it to the professor before 3 p.m. If you send it after 3 p.m., it's not going to be accepted. The deadline. So you think of every minute as a precious minute. You wish that you could give me just 10 minutes, another 15 minutes. My students sometimes say, I can just get another 10 minutes. That's one. You have a term paper, you have the whole term. Right? You have to submit, you have to come to class with your paper printed. Professor, can I will send it tonight, I promise. Tonight I'll send it to you. So you have the whole term. And I know. They sit in the library the last 2 days, they spend hours and hours working. For them, time is very important. Sometimes we feel, okay, watch TV and go here, there, waste time. When will we understand the value of time? Exactly the time of death. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءَ أَحْدَهُمُ الْمَوْتُ قَالَ رَبِّ ارْجِعُونِ. Ya Allah, repeat, just give me a few more months, a few more weeks, a few more days, a few more hours. No. Khalas, time is up. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that this ni'mah of time, so many people are not thankful, are not using it wisely. The other hadith, he said, take advantage of 5 before 5. Take advantage, alright? Shababaka qabla haramik. Your youth before you get old. And صحتك qabla maradik. Your health before you get sick. وغناك قبل فقرك. Your wealth before you lose it. وفراغك قبل شغلك. Your free time before you get really busy. وحياتك قبل موتك. Your life before you die. So 5 things, and 5 things are running after them. So if you have some time, take advantage of it. If you have some wealth, take it. You never know if this is going to stay for long. Right? It was narrated, I will end with this. Someone came to an imam, told him that I complain about poverty and debt and all these things, complaining. And this imam told him that, do you wish that you are blind for 10,000 dirham? He said, no. Do you wish to cut off your hands and your legs for 20,000? He said, no. Do you wish you are crazy, insane for 10,000? He said, no. He said, how come that you complain about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you have already 50,000? Think about it. People think they are poor. If you can walk, if this ability to walk is taken away from you for $1 million, would you take it? No. take one eye for a million. No, of course not. How about 10 million? No. 100? No. I need to be able to see. So why you claim you're poor? You're so wealthy. Right? Very nice analogy. Something similar to this, that one of the Qurra, Qari Quran, he was very poor and he saw in his dream you're Hafiz of Quran, you have the Quran in your heart. You're complaining, you're poor. And you think others got more than you. Imam Ghazali also said that when Allah gives someone Al-Quran, and he thinks that someone is wealthier than him, then he disrespects what Allah respects, or dishonored what Allah honored, and honored what Allah dishonored. I'll say it again. If someone is given Al-Quran and thinks that someone is wealthier than him, because they have more properties or lands or this and that, this thinking means that he honors what Allah dishonored, that's dunya, money and property. And dishonor what Allah honored, dishonor Al-Quran. In other words, if you have Al-Quran, nobody is wealthier than you. So this Qari, who has the Quran in his heart, he was complaining about poverty, and he saw in his dream someone telling him, do you wish that we take from your heart Surah Al-An'am for 1,000 dirham? Forget Surah Al-An'am for 1,000. No, wallahi, not for millions. You have to take away from his heart Surah Al-An'am, to forget Surah Al-An'am, so we are not able to. For 10,000, he said, no. How about Surah Hud? Take Surah Hud from the Quran, take it away from your heart, and pay you 10,000. He said, no. How about Surah Yusuf? He said, no. I can mention names of surahs. He said, no. So this person told him, you have all this, and you complain poverty? And that's a real value. That's a real value. Ibn Sammak, also one of the great scholars and righteous people, and this Khalifa invited him, and he was drinking. He has some bottle of water, drinking, and I said, "Idni," and he give us a speech, a reminder, maw'idah. He's a Khalifa, living in palace, very powerful, very strong, and this scholar was invited, and he told him, "Give me an advice," or maw'idah. You know what he told him? He said, would you, if this bottle of water or cup of water is taken away from you and you are extremely thirsty, would you give half of your kingdom for this water? He said, yes, I will do that. And he said, if this water stays in your body, you are unable to get it out because of kidney stone or whatever, how much you will pay to be able to get it out? He said, I will give the second half of my kingdom. I said, okay, that's my point. What you have is not worth drinking a cup of water and getting it out. it's very simple. Every time you use the bathroom and you're able to get water and fill it out, it's a huge blessing, because some people cannot. Some people cannot, and they suffer, right? And this guy was, was unable to defecate and get, waste out. They have to make a hole in his stomach, and they have to connect it with a plastic bag, a particular plastic bag, so the waste goes in it. I said, I wish I can go for Jum'ah. I have not prayed Jum'ah for years. And they told him, you can do that, because this was under his coat, so nobody can see it. So he goes, and they took him down, put him in the car. In the car, this plastic bag, for some reason, was this attached. They have to take it back home, wash him, just stay. Just the ability to eat. That's why one of the beautiful dua that Rasulullah used to say when he used the bathroom. That just tells you how sensitive he was, how mindful he was, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about all these blessings. When he used the bathroom, he said, Alhamdulillah, alladhi adaqani ladhata. Praise be to Allah, Alhamdulillah, who made me taste the sweetness or the sweetness of the food. وَأَبْقَى فِيَ قُوَّتَهُ. And he kept the power, the energy of this food in my body. وَأَذْهَبَ عَنِّي أَذَى. And he kept this adha, harmful things, away from me. Beautiful. You eat the food, you enjoy it. The energy stays in the body. The waste goes out. How many times we eat, use the bathroom, but we don't think about this. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who are thankful to all these blessings, and to make us among those who are mindful of the so many blessings that we cannot count. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us, and at the time of hardship and patience, and at the time of prosperity and safety, thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'll stop here. If you have any comment or questions, inshallah. Comments or questions? Yes.
Really, Fraga time is like a recreation time or something different?
Say it again.
Fraga time. Fraga.
Farag.
Yeah.
Yes.
Time. What is the meaning of Fraga?
Farag, when you do not have pressing requirement. Okay, so if you have to be at your office in the morning at, let's say, 8 o'clock. Right? Then when you wake up like 6:30, then you have to run because you have to be in your office at 8, right? So that's shughl. I asked you to come visit me, so I'm so sorry I have to go to my shughl. Shughl is out of farag. So you come back home, you have nothing in your schedule. There's nothing pressing that you have to do. So you have farag. There's no immediate responsibility that you have to do. So you come home, think you have farag, and your wife tells you, you know what, we have to stop by the grocery store and buy us these things. We have guests coming. So you have no farag. Or the sink is leaking, you have to find someone to go and fix it. So farag is, if you have a pressing need, then it's shughl. You have a meeting, you have to be in the meeting. Right? And you've come out from this meeting to that meeting. And from that meeting, you have this lecture, and from that lecture, you have this conference. So I have a lot of, your time is limited. So they used to say that al-wajibat akthar min al-awqat. For the wise people, the wajibat is greater than the time. So we have only 24 hours a day. But the wajibat you have requires about 40 hours. That's the wise people, always busy. But the lazy people, they have 24 hours and they get, all the things done like 1 or 2 hours, and the rest of the day is they fill it with watching things, chatting, YouTube, because they don't know how to use their time wisely.
This is leisure time.
Huh?
It's leisure time.
Leisure time. Yeah. When you don't have a pressing need right now, you have to do it. That's the time that you have control over your time. Right? So you can go here, go there, you can do anything you want. But shughl is the time that you have no control over. You have to be there. Yeah. Allahu A'lam. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك. والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الا الذين امنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحان ربك رب العزه عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.